Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado Springs Real Estate Authority. That is Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that the Springs has to offer. Barb, great to be talking with you again. We air the Real Estate Voice show every Saturday, and if you can't listen to the entire show, it's always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or you can just search Barb Schlinker on most of the podcast platforms like Spotify, IHeart Radio, etc. That's Barb Schlinker, Schlinker. Every week, the Real Estate Voice covers great information about people's primary assets. That's their home. So, Barb Schlinker, what will we be talking about today?
Well, thank you, Richard. First of all, I want to talk about the top housing market predictions for 2023 in the whole Front Range and Colorado Springs area. It's really interesting to look at all these bloggers online or on YouTube, and a lot of them make it seem like the sky is falling, but actually real estate's very local. We're not doing that bad. So I'm excited to talk about that. The next topic is going to be fun. I had so much fun with this over the holiday break. I did a bunch of videos about home inspection nightmares, and that's going to be hilarious. I think you'll enjoy it. But the actual topic is home inspection problems home sellers face when selling a house in Colorado. And then the third topic is how to sell a home in a shifting market. Now, the reason why I want to cover this is that the market has shifted a little bit. No longer are the home sellers getting to enjoy bidding wars. No longer are the buyers having to endure having to compete with Wall Street or some of these cash investors. So the market has become a little bit more balanced. It has corrected slightly. So if you're planning to sell your home, how do you approach that market? You can no longer step on the gas when it comes to pricing a home. And then the last topic, and we're seeing a lot of this right now. I just did some research on the MLS, and I discovered that for the month of December, 560 homes went off the market unsold. Can you believe that, Richard?
That is amazing, especially the way the market has been. And you were saying, though, that December traditionally a good year for you. So you've seen a lot of these things come and go.
I have, and we're kind of going to a more normal market. And I think part of it has to do with all those listings that went unsold and got pulled off the market. I don't believe it was because of the holidays. I think it was because maybe they were reaching too high on price, or they picked an agent that didn't know how to appropriately market their home so they could get it sold. And that's what we specialize in. So we're going to dive into that topic. And of course, I love talking about all of our hot new listings. Richard?
Barb, many folks are talking about the real estate market. They see in the news all the time that the market will decline substantially as we're heading into a recession, while home mortgages and the interest rates are on the rise. So talk to us about the myth and the reality when it comes to the market, especially compared to maybe a year ago, and what you're dealing with now.
Well, this one myth about the volume of home sales will drop to the lowest level since 2011 is actually not true. It's more like just before COVID broke out. So those are some of the stats that some of the bloggers are throwing around on YouTube and stuff. That would really mean that the sales would have to drop by half. We're not seeing it. If you go back to 2011, and in any given month, or in a year, we might see maybe 7,000 sales. Now we're seeing 14,000 sales in a year. So that's just a myth. It's not true. And I think some of these people are putting these blogs out just to get people to click on it, basically. If you look at 2011, half the sales, there were half of the sales going on than there are right now in the Colorado Springs area. So the inventory has dropped a lot too, just in the past month. So if you look back in November, the number of available homes was probably right around, 2,400. And when I checked yesterday, it was down to 1,775. So I don't think that we're going through this horrible crunch that the press is trying to present out there. One thing I find perplexing actually is the government just passed yet another $1.7 trillion spending package at this, which is inflationary. At the same time, the Fed is raising interest rates and basically, causing demand destruction for buyers, because as the interest rates go up, the payments go up, and that makes some homes unaffordable for buyers. So it just seems like a twisted world right now. We're going to see a lot of, maybe a little bit more slowness than, of course, what we've seen in the past 2 years, but it's still a good market, and we're still rising in prices. If you actually take a look at the pending sales, now this is a national statistic that I pulled from the National Association of Realtors. The home sale index is going down, the number of home sales to the volume that it was right before COVID. Well, that was still a good market. We were still in the seller's market from probably 2015 all the way up until 2020. So it's not that bad. The median home price really did zoom up since 2008 substantially. It went from, back in 2008, it was probably hovering around 200. Now it's in the 4s for the median, and the average is up in the 5s. And so there was a little bit of tick down, but it did not drop like an elevator. So it's going to be fine. Also, the median home price leading indicator, it just shows that, yeah, the prices are correcting on a national basis, but we're not seeing it here. That's the one thing that's interesting. So mortgage rates actually may come down a little bit. Even though the Fed keeps stepping on the gas, I think sometimes the pricing of mortgages has to do with supply and demand. And if the demand is getting crushed by the Fed raising interest rates, all of a sudden they're not selling new mortgages, and so they lower their rates to get more buyers in there. So some of the national predictions are we're going to see interest rates go back down into the 5s sometime in 2023. And in the meantime, many buyers are negotiating to get the seller to pay some of their closing costs, which includes a dollar amount to actually buy down the interest rate and make their payments lower. So I think it's going to be fine. A lot of people have a very dim view of what the market is doing, but I think it's a good market. It's just a matter of hiring the right agent to make sure you prepare and price it and market it correctly. Another prediction, which I think is a myth, is that the home prices may post their first year-over-year decline. Well, the truth is we have a long way to go from that. We're still in double-digit appreciating numbers for home values. So I don't see it happening. I mean, going back 4 years, the average price went up 52.8%. So even if it drops down to what we consider a normal market, 4 to 7% appreciation, not depreciation, it's going to be fine. And then foreclosures are also off the table. And the reason is those people that might be facing financial difficulties if they can't make their house payment, they have so much equity, they can just sell the home. So it's all going to be fine. Real estate is all about supply and demand. And of course, it's very local. Now, we know that the Colorado Springs market, the supply has recently dropped off substantially, but so has some of the demand. And in particular for me, it's been in the lower price points. My higher price point homes are selling pretty well. And to be honest, Richard, last month, December 2022, was the second best month of the year for me.
Wow. I mean, it's one thing to have expectations. It's another thing to have realistic expectations and have someone like you who knows how to deliver and to make sure that people are, in fact, getting the very most out of what is, in most cases, the biggest asset that they have. You're listening to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And you can always reach Barb and her team at 719-301-3900. We're talking about the shift in the real estate market and the sudden change in the market. What are the industry predictions that you think will ring true in 2023, Barb?
Well, I think that what has already changed is it used to be a seller could put a home on the market, really not put a lot of effort into it, really step on the gas as far as pricing and push the envelope as far as possible. And there were some of those home sellers that thought, okay, we'll try it, but I don't think we're going to get that much. And they got it. Well, that's not so much happening anymore because buyers are looking around at what they can get in their price range. And a large percentage of home sellers are lowering their price. So they really want to get the best home that they can get in the price range. So one of the stats that I pulled from the National Association of Realtors, to me, was very interesting. It almost proves out that this is not going to be a real estate market. The current housing cycle, if you look back to when the crash was years ago and what's going on right now, there were job cuts back then. There are hardly any now. We're actually on a net increase in the number of jobs in Colorado. We're also seeing that the subprime loans, which is really what triggered the meltdown in 2008, they were giving people loans that basically couldn't afford them. They would just say, hey, why don't you take this teaser rate of 1%? And don't worry, you don't need a down payment, 80% first, 20% second. We'll give you a 1% mortgage. Your payment's going to be low for the first 2 years, and you can refinance and it's all going to be good. Well, what happened when 2 years went by is those payments more than doubled, and those people got caught because they were getting qualified on the teaser rate and not the ultimate rate. So the law has changed since then. You can't do that anymore. You can't give out a loan and qualify the borrower based on the teaser rate. It has to be the ultimate payment that they're going to have. The other thing is new construction is still far less than it was back then. Back then, there were 7.65 million homes nationally. Now there's 4.6 million being built. I think it's going to be okay with an increase of population of the Gen Xers and the millennials. Inventory is far less than it was back then. Mortgage delinquency is almost nil, and foreclosures are even less. And that's because most home sellers right now, even if they're facing financial difficulty, all they have to do is put their house on the market, probably at a substantial discount, and it will sell with a dog pile of buyers. So I don't think we have to worry about it. Some of the predictions are that it's going to be more of a humdrum type market, and then we'll see a national appreciation into 2024. One of the economists, Fannie Mae, he basically said home purchases will remain unaffordable for many. But if you put that in perspective, it's unaffordable, A, because the prices went up 52% in 4 years, and B, because the rates back then were so low. I'm still talking to people now, Richard, that are getting like 2.5, have a 2.5% mortgage currently on their house. So if they sell and they upgrade to another house, their mortgage interest rate is going to more than double. So it makes them think twice. So I do think the inventory is going to stay low for that reason. Year-to-date sales are back to where we were in 2018-19 levels. Those are great, way better than they were before the meltdown. And I think it's going to be fine. But a lot of these national people are just saying, oh, the sky is falling. So don't worry about it. What you want to do if you're thinking of making a move is call a realtor. I would love to help you, and my team would love to help you when the time is right. One of the free services we offer is a free consultation on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale, what your home will sell for in this market, how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells, and some strategy on how to prepare your home so you get the most amount of money when it sells. And if you're interested in that, give us a call anytime at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to The Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making any kind of move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or go ahead and visit barbhasthebuyers.com. That's barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing home inspection problems home sellers face when they're selling a home. Stay tuned for that.